Going back to the app list here, we have Google Search installed, of course. It's not Bing, which is excellent. I mean, Google is better than Bing. Gmail is installed. Google Sky Map I installed myself. Let's Golf is included. Let's Golf 2, but it is horrible. It runs very slowly on this device, which I'm guessing it's not optimized for the Tegra 2 here, which is peculiar why they would install it for you if it doesn't work very well. Latitude, of course, is installed. IM lets you connect to AIM contacts. Mobile Hotspot will charge you $20 a month to use your supposed unlimited access to Verizon 3G on several other devices over Wi-Fi. Movies I installed. Music is just the basic music application with a little color there. My accounts just shows your Google accounts, your different accounts for different social networks and such. My Verizon Mobile is included. It's a very slow and almost useless application. News and weather are both included, which is redundant, and I prefer news and weather. It's included on Android. Motorola didn't include that. They included NFS Shift, which runs very smoothly and actually looks very good on the Tegra 2 and the Droid X2. Pandora I installed. It's an excellent app. Quick Office is included. Rich Location is an interesting application here, which provides you with different things around you, like coffee, Yelp restaurants, bars and clubs, all these different things. They even have housing and jobs, which is interesting. And you can add more channels if you find something that you like local deals or such. There aren't that many channels, but it's a useful application that's pre-installed and kind of helpful. Ring Droid I installed. It allows you to make ringtones from your music. It's a very useful and free app, which I highly recommend. Skyfire is an alternative browser which I installed. Skype Mobile is included. Of course, there's no front-facing camera on this phone, so you won't be using that for Skype Mobile, but it is a useful application nonetheless. Slacker is included. Social networking groups all your social network stuff together. SwiftKey I installed. Google Talk is included. Task Manager is interesting. It's just a link to the standard Google Task Manager here, which allows you to easily quit tasks if they're using too much RAM, but usually in Android you don't need to. I also have a tasks list here and the VCast applications, which are all very slow and almost useless, so I'm not sure why they're even included. Just Verizon. Google Voice I installed. Voice commands works very well on this phone. Comes up with several options.
Please say a command.
And you can easily find who you want to call or whatever on there. YouTube is also installed, as well as VZ Navigator, but I would recommend just using Navigation rather than VZ Navigator. It's free and it's better. Here we see the gallery application. I'm going to show you a glitch I've had with this phone. When recording video, the video can come out looking with pauses and such, which makes it almost useless as a video recorder. As you can see in the beginning here, it records just fine, but as soon as I add some motion, it just pauses, and then it starts up later. But this is pretty unacceptable for a video recorder. Hopefully they'll fix that glitch. Finally, another thing I've noticed about this phone is the banding on the display. If I go into Flicky Wallpaper, which is an application I use to get wallpapers on here, I'll show you some wallpapers on here that show obvious banding for the display. As you might be able to see up here, the gradients in the colors right here is very drastic. That should not be going on. I believe it's in the software though, because when I open this image up in the web browser, there was no banding. So I believe it's a software issue that Motorola needs to fix on the Droid X2. I also had the same problem with my original Motorola Droid. There was some banding. They came out with an update just a bit later that fixed the issue, so I'm hoping they'll come out with an update that works for this as well. Otherwise, the display is very clear, very bright. It's a very high resolution display, and it looks really amazing, especially with this Tegra 2 backing it up. Surfing the web is very quick, and it's just a great web browsing phone. As you can see, the bookmarks application has changed within the browser on here. Motorola has added a little feature here, but this is a great phone for web browsing. Scrolling is completely smooth, even on very difficult pages, which I'll show you here. As you can see on the New York Times homepage here, scrolling is very fluid and easy, and even very small text. Even very small text is legible on this very high resolution display. I've turned Flash into, I've adjusted it so that Flash only loads when I ask it to. So if I tap here, Flash will load, and it'll start displaying whatever Flash ads and such are on the page, which does slow scrolling down a small bit, but it's worth it to get Flash, and you can load up full YouTube videos. It will play YouTube 720p videos, although they play relatively slowly. The 480p runs perfectly on here. Now finally, a physical look comparing this phone to some others here. We'll compare it to the original Droid. As you can see here, on the brightest display setting, the Droid X2 is quite a bit brighter than the original Droid, and of course runs faster. This Droid is just slowing down so much, which is why I got the Droid X2. But physical wise, the Droid X2 is also thinner. There you can see the camera hump makes it almost the same thickness, but still a thinner device. You can see I'm comparing the Motorola Droid X2 with the HTC Thunderbolt here, and the screen on the Droid X2 just looks so much brighter and crisper. Although text is more legible on the Thunderbolt because it does have all of the subpixels as 3 subpixels per pixel as a normal display would, whereas the Droid X2 only has 2. But as you can see here, the Droid X2 is still a nicer display to work with, just because it's so bright. Comparing the thickness of the two devices, you could see the Thunderbolt is definitely thicker than the Droid X2. It's a thicker, kind of bulkier device, although the Droid X2 is taller because of that 16:9 screen there. These are both very large phones and made for people with bigger hands, but comparing them sitting in the hand, the Thunderbolt feels better overall. It's just curved to your hand and it feels kind of nice. The Droid X2 is thinner though, so when you put it in your pocket it's a lot less noticeable than the Thunderbolt. And also it does feel good in the hand because this little bump up here makes it easy to put your finger there when you're holding it. So you keep the phone in your hand easily. Going back to the original Droid, it's positively dwarfed by these monster phones, and it's still thicker than the Droid X2 there because of the keyboard. And the screen, of course, is so much smaller, nearly 0.6 inches smaller. Between these two phones, they're pretty similar devices. They're both on Verizon. The Thunderbolt has 4G and a front-facing camera, although it has an older Snapdragon 1 GHz processor, whereas the Droid 2 has the Tegra 2 dual-core 1 GHz processor. So the Droid 2 is a quicker device, and you notice it when using it. Overall, if you don't live in a 4G area or you're not willing to pay the sacrifice, which is battery life, on the Thunderbolt, which is awful, it can't even last a day, then I'd go for the Droid X2. It has pretty good battery life from what I could tell so far. It'll easily last you through the day. I've been using it for over an hour now with the screen on almost all the time. Very bright setting, and the battery hasn't gone down at all. It's also a very quick device and just very responsive, and surfing the internet is a blast on it. It's just so quick. Whereas the Thunderbolt, for some reason the browser is extremely buggy. Both of these devices should be getting Android 2.3 soon, so that should help speed the Thunderbolt up and make the Droid X2 even faster.